Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for watching today. Day two. I appreciate you watching and staying on task with this habits and changing habits. Because if you're watching this, hopefully you're watching because you enjoy learning or just hearing different aspects or opinions or thought processes about habits and changing your habits. Because everything that we do is a habit. And almost everything we do every day is a habit. The things that we continually do, the same thing over and over, is a habit of some sort. And when I was reading this book, it's really coming to light how ingrained we are in our habits every day, especially with COVID and everything has happened under quarantine and can't go certain places and do certain things. And we don't realize. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of like a student of life. I mean, and my family and friends are getting irritated with me sometimes when I kind of enjoy learning when I'm watching the news or watching people seeing their point of view, like example with kids going back to school. I'm not picking a side here, but I was so in just watching and listening and seeing everybody's points of view of good and bad. And it just amazes me how we are so set in our habits, our schedules. Like again, school. Okay, kids don't go back to school. Oh, we didn't realize how we rely in our schedules and change and how that affects our moods and how it affects our success in life. So that's the point I'm making in this beginning of this part today is just our habits. You don't realize until you really mess up your system or your routines, and that's what we're going to kind of go over today. It in a good and bad way can help you and also hurt your habits too, your good habits. So today, the golden rule of habit change is really the author was talking about routines and cues and routines, and he had two pretty good comparisons on. He uses a lot of great stories on successful ways of doing that. One of his examples of routines, there's a coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tony Dungy, very successful coach. Well, he did better at Tampa Bay, if anybody's a football fan, but he did better, but didn't get too far at Tampa Bay. They let him go. They fired him. And then he went on to the Indianapolis Colts and did very well there. But he changed the routines. If something wasn't working in his football team, he changed the routines. He limited the amount of plays. He made it simpler, changed the way the practices are, changed the way the playbook was, changed the routines. Because if you're doing the same thing, again, if you're not successful at something, you can't repeat the same routines over and over again. And how I take that and put that into real estate, if at the end of the day or several days or weeks or months or whatever, how many times you're keeping track of yourself and building your business as a real estate agent, if you're not getting there, your routine, your habits day to day might not be in line to what you need to achieve. So you got to get your routines. And then the other example he uses about Alcoholics AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is how they put when people were drinking, they would sit there. When do you drink? What times of day? What feelings? What things are coming up? And then that add to when you drink or why you drink. And then they try to take that routine of the drinking and put other more positive things in that time. Example, they, talking to their coach or mentor or buddy that they have, doing other activities. If the people that were drinking, the alcoholics, because they felt sad or lonely, try to replace those routines of drinking with positive things, being around people, doing things, being busy. I firmly believe when you have habits that are negative habits, you have to change your routines and you have to change your environment. Now, your environment might not be, you don't have to move, you can't move, you can't, uh, sometimes can't distance yourself from the people that are closest to you, but just change a different room, don't go home as early in the day. If you think going at home, with example, I know a lot of realtors out there who start up. It's just finding the time to cut out throughout the day to do the work they need to do. So you might have to change your routines. And I'm going to kind of go over an example like that. So while I'm reading this part, I'm saying, how do I put this more in real estate terms and habits? So number one, I think a lot of people and a lot of the agents that I coach, no one that I know of, I've ever sat there and said through every day, I take 2 hours a day and just sit there and do absolutely nothing, just stare at the wall, do nothing. No one does that. So what I mean, what I'm getting to is that everybody is doing things all day long, doing something. You're getting up, you're getting ready, you're going to work, you're doing some other things, you're helping your family, you're eating, you're watching TV, you're watching a movie, you're watching your shows that you love and catching up on Netflix. You're doing something. Other than sleeping, you are doing something. Now it's time for to similar to Alcoholics Anonymous, where they were saying the cues. Now you got to figure out which part in your day, what habits in your day, like every night for 2 hours I'm watching TV and catching up on my shows, or I love to talk to my friends or family an hour a day, or I have to drive my kids to school, practice, I got to take care of the kids, I got to clean the house, whatever. You got to find what habits, what things that are you doing every day, and take note of those. And now start popping them out with a new routine. You've got to find the time to do the things that you want to do to be successful. And that's prospecting, that's working on your real estate business. And you're always going to find other things to do. You've been doing that your whole life. Up until today, you've been doing that every day. You're filling up your day. Now you got to keep note of what routines, and it can't be, in my opinion, and my success of seeing agents that are successful, it can't be just let me find the time and still do everything else. Then that new routine of trying to be successful in real estate and prospecting and building your business will be the first thing to go, because you didn't get rid of anything else. You've got to figure out what's in your day-to-day life. Example, it could be this easy. You take note that you've been watching 2 hours of TV every day. Every day, I talk to so many people that like, oh, have you watched this show? Have you watched that show? Have you caught up on this? Or have you watched? I'm like, how do you have time to watch all of these things? So I say, if it's as simple as that, take out that time that you're watching those shows, that TV, and pop in half of that, cut it in half. Pop in, okay, here, I'm only going to watch an hour of TV a day. I'm not going to watch 2 hours of TV. I'm going to work an extra hour a day. Example, I know this little sore subject to some parents. Driving your kid to practice every day. I've seen many realtors say, I got to drive my kid to practice, I know that's very important to you. And do you sit there at practice? Don't sit there at practice. Go back home and work. Or while you're there, stay in the car. You have a phone, work in your car. Don't have to sit there, watch your child every practice, just practice. So I give agents those type of suggestions on what you can do to find the time. You got to prioritize that. So this chapter of the golden rule of habit changes routines. You got to change your routines and don't pack it in. You got to, example with the coach Tony Dungy, and he was saying he changed the routines. That means he took something out and said, we're not taking out these certain plays and we're putting in these more simple plays, or we've been practicing this way and obviously we're not successful. We're going to throw out those practices and put in new practices. businesses. So that point that I'm getting at is you have to take out something, because you're not sitting there looking at the wall for an hour or two a day. You're not doing that. You're doing something. So you got to take out something. And I see so many people trying to do the exact same thing that they do every day and put in another thing, which is really important to their businesses, and is that's in real estate and what you're doing and carving out that time. So my homework for today is try to go through your schedule. Write down a daily schedule of what you do, how long you do it, time blocking of where you're doing stuff. Figure out things that you could take off, delegate to other people. Example, I've taken, and to many agents that are watching this, my agents I've been coaching, and I've given you a suggestion is you could, I'm just giving an example with the kids. If you have a spouse or significant other saying, I have to work, can you jump in and drive the kids to practice? Or drop the kids off to practice. I've said this to many agents, and go back home, have one of the other parents drive back. It doesn't have to be every day, but you could time block it. Remember, you're your own boss. Pretend like your boss told you have to work those times. You're on the schedule, you're on the clock, and you have to do it. Then put that into your new routine. And it doesn't have to be every day. It could be you just have to schedule it. So that's what I got out of this point of the book. If you read the book or you're going to read the book, is how I put this golden rule of habit change and changing your routines and not packing it in there and pulling something out and putting something more productive in there. So that's it for today. Tomorrow, the topic will be habits that change other habits. And I started reading this. Again, like I mentioned yesterday, I'm just reading this book along. It's the first book, and thank you to my friend Amy O'Brien who bought me this book. It's a great book, and I'm enjoying these stories. They're great. So if you can get this, because there's a lot more, there's a million other things more in this book that I'm not talking about because I can't talk about all of it, and the cool stories and the things that the author puts together with this. So that's it for today. Have a happy Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11 on Wednesday. Bye-bye.